Welcome back to my channel. As you could see, I'm back at the farm. I've arrived a couple days ago. I posted another video showing you some of the changes we've made since last time. There's a separate video about where I give you a tour of my farm. You should watch that video to see what we've done since last time. And some of you that have been following me know that I talk about BSF farming. Right? It's an integrated farm that we've started that has poultry farm, a BSF farm, azola farming, and vegetable farming. And if you've also been following us, you know that I've talked about our struggle to increase our production of BSF larvae. And what I did, I reached out to someone I saw on YouTube, and I invited him to come to my farm and to help us improve our production and to reach our objectives. So in this video, I want to ask him 3 questions. So I want you to stick around and hear his answers about BSF farming and some of the difficulties we faced. I'll let him introduce himself, and then I'm going to ask him 3 questions, and hopefully these 3 questions will help you also reach some of your objectives and the goals that you've set for yourself. So Mr. Royce, please introduce yourself to my audience.
I am Mr. Royce Sugireki. I'm from Nigeria.
Say more now.
Okay, I'm from Nigeria. I'm a BSF farmer. I'm an integrated farmer, but majorly I am based on raising live protein for livestock, like BSF, like the accompany what we call edible worm, like crickets, and so on and so forth. So I came here to work on the farm here with my friends, to make sure that we're able to raise the BSF level to a better level.
I will post a link to his channel in the description below. You should look him up. The reason why I reached out to him is because he might not have the flashiest YouTube channel, but the way he explains things, he speaks with authority. I was looking for no BS teacher to come here and really help us, and he did that. Things have changed around here for the better. So without further ado, we want to talk about BSF farming in this video. So the first question I have for Mr. Royce is, for a farmer like me, or for any farmer out there, why should we care about BSF farming? Why did you start BSF farming, and why should others invest in BSF farming? That's the first question I have. So let's see what he's gonna tell us.
Okay. Why I personally came into BSF farming, one of the reasons is I don't like chemical farming. BSF is 100% organic. When you use BSF to replace your protein in your feed, you are sure that it's 100% organic protein you are putting into your feed. And BSF so cuts down the cost of production for you. It reduces the cost of your feeding down to it can beat it with about 40, 50, 60%. I know that's a lot of profits for somebody who is running commercially. Now BSF, it's beginning to us. It keeps multiplying and multiplying. So it's something that when you get into and you handle and you maintain well, your production is sure. You are covered in the aspect of protein and supplements. So why farmers should go into BSF? It totally cuts down the cost of your production. It gives you a lot of peace. You are not afraid of infusing chemicals into your feed by protein. And of course, we know the cost of our foreign fish feed now. We know how it is, because the fishes where they get it from has depleted seriously. Understand? With BSF, there is no depletion. It's always there. It's always multiplying and always increasing. So bringing it to your farm saves you a lot of stress. Gives you a lot of peace. So that's why you must do BSF farming.
And that's exactly why I did BSF farming. Right? I got into BSF farming because when I started doing research for raising poultry in Burkina Faso, and I think it's the same in everywhere, Africa or Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, anywhere you're watching us from, I'm pretty sure the cost of feed is very high if you do poultry farming. And one of the reasons why the cost of feed is high is the source of protein, as he mentioned, exactly, which is usually from fish or soya, right? Both of them are very expensive. So BSF allow us to replace those sources of protein and to cut costs on animal feed. So I highly recommend, if you have a small scale farm to invest in BSF farming. If you are looking for an investment opportunity, you can start a BSF farm to produce on a large scale and sell to farmers. One thing I've noticed is it is very difficult to do poultry farming and BSF farming at the same time. It can involve a lot of labor and so on and so on. So if you find this difficult, it's taken us a year to get here. If you find it difficult, you can invest just on BSF farm. You get it right for a year, you can start selling. Once you've handled the production of BSF, then you can start your poultry farm. Okay, so thank you for that question. My next question to you, when you've arrived at this farm, as I mentioned, we've been struggling to increase our production. What were we doing wrong? When you arrived here, can you give us 3 to 4 things
Okay,
you were doing wrong?
the first thing you did wrong was relying 100% on YouTube training. That's the first thing you did wrong, because
He's a consultant. No, just kidding.
I have my own YouTube page, but I do not have the time to put everything I practice online. When I come to my farm, there are some things I miss and I treat it immediately. By the time I want to take a video, it's no longer there, it's been treated. So I don't have that time to put everything. So when you go on YouTube and you think you can get 100% knowledge on BSF, that's wrong. I'm not saying YouTube will not help, but you should have a mentor, somebody that is doing BSF farming, to help you with what you learn on YouTube, then infuse it. That was the first thing. The second thing I noticed is that you add a structure, but you didn't utilize the capacity of the structure. You didn't utilize the proper space. You understand? I know what it costs to put up this kind of structure, but you didn't use every corner of the place. So that's something that we corrected by adding the ponds and rearranging the racks. That was the second thing I noticed. Then, now the practice. The pattern itself. The practice, having a structure, having everything right is good. But if the practice is wrong, then you're going to have issues like we have to adjust and tweak some things. Understand, like the feeding, especially the feeding, positioning of some things. Understand, because BSF in the wild, it has everywhere to do its roaming, its flying, its mating, and its laying. When you are farming it, they now have limited space and limited resource. So you have to try and copy what you see in the wild and put it there. Yes, you can have attractants, just like in the wild, but if the attractant is not properly placed, no matter how smelly it is, you just be losing eggs. So that was the thing I noticed next. The pattern of your program was a bit shifted. That's what I noticed. Then, consistency. In BSF farming, there is a system. You can choose whatever system is good for you. Like I can feed my maggots for 4 times a day when I have a target to hit. I can feed once in 2 days. I can feed once a day or 2 times a day. But whatever you practice, you must be consistent in it. You don't change. Because by the time you start to change, you are going to delay production. You will not be getting what you want at the right time. So that was it.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. And I'm glad that you came to the farm and helped us correct those things. So if you are listening carefully, so first of all, the space we have set up, we relied heavily on YouTube. Not heavily. I just watch YouTube channel. I watch a lot of farmers out there, and I take what I saw on YouTube and I try to implement it here. So the structure I had was set on racks and where we put buckets on it. So it was not utilizing the floor space. So that's the first thing he made us change, and that was because I relied heavily on YouTube. And after that, I think the way we're practicing, right? Because as you watch a YouTube channel, there's a lot of steps that are skipped, right? So you're gonna watch some videos here and there and pick up an information there, pick up an information here, pick up an information there to try to put it together. You're gonna miss some steps, and that's why he's talking about how the actual practice in here we're missing some elements. And one thing, for example, our cages were here, and I don't know if it's a little dark behind here. Our cages were in the back here, so the flies were not getting enough light. That's an issue, right? And then we had the consistency issue. We've changed some steps here. At some point we were feeding twice a week, then we were feeding once a week, but now we're feeding 3 times a day. So all those things have changed a lot, and I'm really grateful that he came to the farm. Mr. Rice came to the farm to help us correct these things, and I cannot wait for us to go forward. So my third question to you, which I've kind of answered already, but let's hear it from him. What are the changes we've made, the fundamental changes that we've made? I've already mentioned some of those. And where do you think we can go? What can we reach with this new setup that we have now?
Okay, like one of the major changes we made was not just the feeding pattern, but the feed itself. Because knowing that yes, I can feed my BSF with maize bran and beauty waste is not enough. Knowing how to prepare it and give it to your maggots, that's one thing we changed. Then also being more conscious of how the maggots feel, because as farmers we must like feel what do our animals feel. You understand? Like before you just feed, you just load the food there and you walk away. It's like forcing a child to have kwachoko. Just load him up with food, eat, and you walk away. You have not checked if the food has enough nutrients in it. You have not checked if he's chewing properly. You have not checked if he has enough water to drink. And you have not checked if he's exercising enough for his food to digest. You definitely have a problem. The same thing happened here. So when we changed the feed, we changed the feeding pattern. You understand? And we now introduced something new. That was defrosting. It's like leaving a child in his poop. We certainly have a lot of diseases to contend with. So we added that to it, and that one, in fact, tweaked everything. That was one. Two, the way we introduce our ashlings to life, the way we introduced it to the farm, we changed that pattern too. Before they are just dumped there, oh, here's enough food you can grow. But this time, we brought in the pattern of, we check, how are you guys doing this morning? Oh, you are doing fine. Okay, here's the food for today, or here's the food for the next 12 hours. And we discovered that there was a big difference. You understand? So where we are going next from here is, I believe that by the time I visit this farm in the next 3 months, I strongly believe that this setup will not be carrying what we already have here. That's where I believe we are going, because you have seen the production has like tripled already. And if you are to force these back into the cages as flies to give you maggots, definitely, even when you are using this place, so I believe this place will not carry it. So where we are going, I believe that we are going to reach a capacity of being self-sufficient in protein production. That's what I believe.
And that's the objective. So if you are listening, the first thing we change is the type of feed. We are now relying more on poultry waste and how we feed them, right? So we have changed now, as I just mentioned, we are feeding them twice, 3 times, 4 times a day so that they grow even faster. And the second thing is the attention we give to the hatchlings, right? So when we introduce the hatchlings, we feed them with grower feed from poultry to get them to a certain level very quickly before we transfer them to the pond. So we've changed our quite. We've changed our as well. That was not something we used to do before. And as you mentioned, with this setup, we now think that perhaps we can produce enough protein to no longer buy soya or fish meal. And some other changes we've made as well was at the cages, right? So we moved the cages out to the front, and we've added these transparent tiles so that the flies get a lot more light. So I guess one last question, one parting way. You said if you come back 3 months, this is not gonna look like what it is. What would make you happy when you come back here in 3 months?
First thing, I'll be happy when you tell me that we have to, not that we may expand. When you tell me that what we are producing, in fact, we don't have the capacity to hold it, because these maggots, these BSF and farming, it produces well. So I'll be happy when I come and you tell me, we had to expand. I'm sorry, we could not call you. We quickly had to expand. It was something of urgency. I'll be very happy about that. And secondly, I'll be happy to see that the birds on the farm now rely solely on BSF maggot for their protein. That will make me very happy.
Excellent. Challenge accepted. In 3 months, when he comes back, we're going to have enough BSF to a point where we are expanding production, and our birds would only rely on BSF, no longer fish meal and soya meal. I hope this this start was useful to you. Thank you so long, and see you in the next video.